Hello all, just finished the series of Ozark on Netflix and I am blown away by two main things, the writing and the acting. So I'd like to take the first part of this video to address what I liked about the show and what to expect for those of you that haven't seen it yet. Then the second part, I will go into some details on why I like the show so much and why I believe it to be so just brilliant. Shout out to the homie Matt G for recommending this show for me. Since I got injured, I've been watching a lot of Netflix on my free time and he threw this show at me with no hesitation, and I can see why now. Speaking of Matt G, I have a video coming out of his birthday when we went out to play aero tag, and it was a lot of fun. Stay tuned for that. So what to expect? It's dark, explicit, somewhat gory at moments with an undertone of how important it is to make the right decision or to be prepared to face some consequences that you might not like. Now I just got done binging Breaking Bad and I noticed there are a lot of similarities, but if you like the idea of a nuclear family getting tossed into the deep end of the black market type of show, then this is right down your alley, you dark sadistic maniac. Expect not just a story arc, but some very deep and complex character arcs. Pay close attention to the details within each character's decisions and their choice of word. The dialogue and the events go hand in hand, leaving the audience to put the pieces together without making it blatantly obvious like other shows. So this show isn't like other skim through the show type of shows. In Breaking Bad, the stakes were high, but you didn't really feel it. At least not among the main protagonists. In Ozark, the series took its time to somehow, in 10 episodes even, to create value with each individual character. And that's the basic go binge this show now lecture. So run along, binge responsibly, do your errands and chores before you sneak a couple episodes and end up finishing the season in one night. Spoiler alert in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This kid, okay, spent 10 episodes learning how to be a murderer, not to realize he emptied a clip into nothing when he was preparing for that end scene the entire season. What the? Got that off my chest. Gee, decisions, etiquette, mannerisms. Always on the lookout for which direction the character will be pulling the conversation type of show. This is my type of show. I love that. I love reading the kind of stuff on people. So the main protag, Marty Byrde, his character arc actually maintained the same within the terms of problem solving and reacting to some intense and serious conflict. But I love how the emotional side of him peeked through slowly as the story unfolded, keeping him vulnerable but still likable. I also enjoyed how brutally honest he was to the other characters in the story once they discovered his whole business. Wendy Byrde was a very strong female role in the whole ordeal. From the get-go, we saw how well she could keep things hidden and how loyal she was to her family, kind of. I mean, except for early on in the series when she withdrew all that money, but I forgive her because she wasn't really thinking straight and was madly in love with Mr. Gary Splat on Concrete. Charlotte Byrde didn't have much of a story arc and was a little annoying with how repetitive and resistant she was. But her little side story of partying and choosing the douchebag over weird criminal kid with a good heart made her worth mention. Jonah Byrde, we already know how I feel about this kid. I mean, you should have been Mike Fleming. 80% of his screen time was him hiding guns like Easter eggs. My goodness, Ruth Langmore. Such a complex story arc and probably my favorite character on the show. She longs for family and is loyal to them, and I hope to see her grow close to the Byrdes because so far she is the Daryl to my Walking Dead. Roy Petty is a very interesting FBI agent. He's like a lone wolf type agent who is so borderline criminal it's scary. I'm not sure if this was on purpose to make him appear more like an antagonist of the story, but if that was the case, it worked. Del Taco, that's not his name, was the typical major drug dealer that will kill you if you betray me type character, and he remained consistent until he said the word redneck. We all know what happened then. Etiquette. Speaking of the Snells, they were an interesting bunch. I saw a lot of parallels between them and the Byrdes, and I'm pretty sure that was on purpose if you watch closely. Dying in the basement, we have Buddy, the old man that was originally written into the script as a grandpa of the show, I'm sure. But instead, let's make him weird with stranger danger, only to find out he's pretty dope in the end. It's actually really cool to see how calmly he handles everything, really. And we don't know if that's because he had a darker past that we don't know about, or really just doesn't care because he's dying. I'm sure we'll find out. Mason Young, I will never attend a baptism the same ever again because of this guy. It's like they took a really good guy and did all the bad to him, but he kept his faith. It's beautiful, and it reminds the audience that we're rooting for a guy that launders money for criminals that are ruining lives nationwide by the millions. Overall, I thought the storytelling was well done and kept the audience guessing, celebrating, and in suspense constantly. I loved it. Really great story. And I also have this one episode that really stood out to me, and that was episode 8. If you're paying close attention to the story at all, episode 8 filled in so many emotional loose ends. It really mended that bond between all the characters and explained why Agent Petty was so passionate about taking down drug dealers and why Marty and Wendy's relationships is the way that it is. So yeah, that's my review. Please leave a comment about the show if you enjoyed it too and want to talk about it, because I will respond. I love the show. Subscribe only if you mean it, like only if you mean it, and I'll see you in the next vid. P.S. Somebody please explain to me each symbol of each episode, because I'd rather not Google it. Plus I want to hear other people's interpretations. More reviews to come. Later.